Before I begin my story, please don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Hit the notification bell, and give this video a like. It really helps me share more stories like this one with you. My name is Sarah, and this is the story of how I almost lost the greatest love of my life because I was too afraid to admit what was in my heart. I've known Daniel since we were children. He lived just across the street from me, and for as long as I can remember, he was always there. We went to the same school, played on the same soccer field, and shared secrets late at night on our porches. Back then, I never thought about him as anything more than my best friend. He was the one who held my hand when I was scared of thunderstorms, the one who sat beside me when I cried over my parents' fights, the one who cheered the loudest when I won a spelling bee in 5th grade. Our lives were intertwined in ways that felt unshakable. We grew up together, through awkward teenage years, first heartbreaks, and dreams about the future. Everyone around us joked that one day we'd get married. We always laughed it off. "We're just friends," we would say, and I believed it, or, at least, I told myself I did. But life has a way of uncovering truths we try to bury. When we entered high school, things began to change. Daniel became one of the most popular guys in school, tall, athletic, always surrounded by friends. I was quieter, the type of girl who preferred books and art class to crowded hallways. Still, he never left me behind. We studied together, walked home together, and sometimes he would skip parties just to spend time with me. I remember one night during junior year, when we were sitting on the hood of his car, watching the stars. He turned to me and said, "You know, Sarah, I don't think I'd survive high school without you." I laughed, trying to hide the way my stomach twisted with warmth. "Of course you would. You're Daniel. Everyone loves you." But he shook his head. "That doesn't matter. You're the one who really sees me." I didn't know what to say. So I stayed silent, afraid that if I spoke, the fragile balance of our friendship would break. When college came, we chose different paths. I studied literature in New York, while he stayed in our hometown to pursue engineering. The distance was hard, but we called and texted all the time. He visited me once, and we spent the whole weekend walking through the city like tourists, laughing at how lost we were. But something happened during those years. I began to realize that my feelings for him weren't the same as before. I missed him more than I should have. I compared every guy I dated to him, and no one ever measured up. When he laughed, when he smiled at me through video calls, when he said he was proud of me, I felt things I couldn't deny anymore. But I kept quiet, because I was terrified of losing him. Then, during our last year of college, he called me with news that broke me. "Sarah," he said, his voice bubbling with excitement, "I met someone. Her name was Emily. She was sweet, kind, beautiful, the perfect match for him." I forced a smile through the phone and told him I was happy for him. But inside, I felt like my heart had been split open. When I graduated, I moved back home. By then, Daniel and Emily were serious. He brought her to dinners, to parties, even to our porch where we used to talk about everything. She was lovely, and I hated her for it. I remember one night vividly. They were hosting a barbecue, and I watched from across the yard as he wrapped his arm around her waist, kissing her forehead in that tender way I had always imagined he'd one day kiss me. I excused myself and went home early, crying into my pillow like a teenager again. It was tortured being his best friend, smiling at his happiness, while my heart screamed that I was losing him forever. One winter night, Daniel and I found ourselves alone again. Just like old times, we were sitting in his car, parked by the lake. The air was cold, our breath fogging the windows. He looked at me for a long time, then sighed. "Sarah, can I ask you something? Do you ever feel like you're pretending?" I frowned. Pretending what? Pretending to be happy. Pretending things are fine when maybe they're not. His eyes searched mine, and for a moment, I thought he could see straight into my soul. I wanted to scream the truth that yes, I was pretending, that I wasn't fine, that I loved him, but fear strangled me. I smiled instead. "No, Daniel, I think I'm okay." He nodded, but I saw the disappointment in his eyes. That night, I realized I couldn't keep living like this. Weeks later, after battling with myself endlessly, I finally broke. It was late, almost midnight, when I walked across the street to his house. My heart pounded in my chest as I knocked on his door. He opened, surprised to see me. "Sarah, what's wrong?" I didn't wait. I couldn't. I just blurted it out. "I love you, Daniel. I've loved you for years. And I can't keep pretending. I don't." Silence. His eyes widened, his lips parted, but no words came out. The seconds stretched into eternity, and I felt the ground crumbling beneath me. Finally, he whispered, "Sarah." But then, from behind him, Emily appeared, sleepy and confused. "Everything okay?" she asked softly. And just like that, I knew I had been too late. I mumbled an apology, turned, and ran home. That night, I cried until dawn, convinced I had destroyed everything between us. For weeks, Daniel didn't call. I avoided him, avoided the porch, avoided everything that reminded me of him. I thought our friendship was over. Then one evening, he showed up at my door. "Sarah," he said, his voice trembling, "we need to talk." I braced myself for the goodbye I thought was coming, but instead, he said something that changed everything. "I ended things with Emily." I froze. "What? Why?" He took a deep breath. "Because when you told me you loved me, it forced me to admit the truth. I've loved you too. For years, I was just too afraid to lose you, but I can't lie anymore. Not to you, not to myself, not to her." Tears filled my eyes. "Daniel." And then, after all those years of silence, he kissed me. Gently, tenderly, like he had been waiting his whole life for that moment. It's been 5 years since that night. Daniel and I are no longer just best friends, we are partners, building a life together. We argue sometimes, we disagree. But beneath it all, there's something unshakable. The foundation of years spent knowing and loving each other. Sometimes I think about how close I came to losing him forever. How fear nearly robbed me of the greatest love of my life. And I share this story so maybe someone listening won't make the same mistake I did. If you love someone, if you know deep in your heart they mean the world to you, don't wait, tell them. Because sometimes the greatest love stories are the ones that were right in front of us all along. If this story touched your heart, please subscribe to the channel. Activate the notification bell, and give this video a like. Your support means the world to me and helps me share more stories like this one. Thank you for listening.